What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So today I want to talk about a VST that I'm shocked I don't see a lot of people talking about it. Now, I feel like it's a new VST because I haven't seen it popping up all over the place, but I decided to check it out. I wasn't expecting much, and I'm actually pleasantly blown away by how cool this thing is. Now, the plugin that I'm talking about comes from Sinevibes, and it's called Skew. And what Skew is it's a non-linear audio reverser. Now, before you say anything, I already know what you guys are saying. We have halftime. We have all of these different reverse things on the market. Do we need another reverse thing? Maybe not. Probably not, actually. But I was just pleasantly surprised by how cool and interesting this thing is. And because of that alone, I wanted to just bring this plugin to the channel and shed a little bit more light on it to show you some of the differences or why this may be something that you want to add onto your arsenal. So without doing any more talking, let's check this thing out. Sinevibes, Skew. Let's see what this thing is all about. So as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is Skew. Now, before we get into the UI and what all is happening in the UI, like I said earlier, this thing is slightly different than maybe some of your more standard reverse plugins. And we're going to check out the website because they explain it a little bit, probably better than I could explain it. But what it says on the website is it's perfectly synchronized to the host transport. So basically, your input audio signal is perfectly synchronized to it, and it is constantly recording the incoming audio into a buffer and then playing it back in reverse alongside the host audio file. And then the big trick in the algorithm is that it's able to warp its playback speed via a selection of nonlinear curves, thus bending the pitch in various ways. Skew can be used to create multiple rhythmically precise effects such as reversing, tape rewind, pitch slides, detuning, glitching, and even scratching. So that's really cool. But I just wanted to walk you through this really simple plugin in so many ways that can do a lot of really cool, really interesting and creative things to your audio signal. So we're going to check this thing out real quick. We're going to go over the UI, and I'm going to point out a little bit of what you're seeing. Now, there's not a lot to go over in the UI. I mean, for the most part, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So you have your size knob here, your overlap knob, your curve knob, your intensity, your crossfade, and your output. And these little dotted lines right here, they turn into wave signals, and you're able to see the actual input of the source audio file coming into the VST, and you get to see how it's being manipulated. You can go through the different presets just by pressing the forward arrow and changing the different curve and the different parameters of the preset. You can create your own preset just by hitting this plus button up here. It's going to save your preset. You can change the UI size just by hitting this arrow down here at the bottom or hitting this other arrow up here at the top to make it smaller. Really cool stuff. That's very different. That's interesting that you just hit a little arrow to make it bigger instead of dragging it. So that's really cool. But yeah, very simple, very straightforward. Simple UI, but like it does some really cool things. Now, before we go over what this thing sounds like, I want to explain what these knobs down here on the bottom is actually doing to your audio signal. So if you look right down here, you'll see these knobs are in blue, and you see the ones over here on the right are red. They're separated into two different sections. The red knobs represent your input and output mix signal, and on the left side here, you have your reverse setting. Now, this first knob here that says size, this allows you to adjust the chunk or the amount of your source audio signal that you want to be in reverse. So you have everything here from 1 to 16. You can change 16, 14, 15, 8. You know, you could do 4, 13. You can really make these small minor adjustments to not just get your average reverse signal where it basically, you know, reverse a chunk of your audio every 2 bars or every 4 bars. But because this thing is recording your input audio signal in real time and almost creating 2 different audio signals, and it's taking the second audio signal and that's where it's going to work on it, it's taking that second audio signal and allowing you to kind of chop it up into different pieces and reverse whatever section of it that you want. That's really cool in itself. That's interesting because you're not just getting your standard reverse sound, you're able to reverse any one of the sections of that wave file that you want, and that's really cool. Right over here, you have your overlap knob, and this is like a gate duration. It's allowing you to adjust how much of the previously reversed signal you want to blend into the next reverse symbol. So if you want it to be a really smooth reverse or you want it to be a bit more choppy, you can just adjust the overlap knob here and get that. Your curve knob right here, you can adjust the reverse curve. Your intensity knob right next to it allows you to adjust how much of that curve you want introduced into the playback signal. So you can make your adjustments of the type of curve you want, and then you can use the intensity knob to kind of be a mix blend between how much of that curve you want introduced into the signal. Then you have your crossfade knob here, and you have your output knob. So right now what we're gonna do is I have a beat queued up right here, and I'm going to play the beat first, and then I'm gonna select a portion of the melody or maybe the chord inside of the beat, and I'm gonna apply this plugin to it, and we're gonna see what it does. So this is the beat without Skew added to it. That was the beat. Now, the part of the beat that I'm gonna take to apply the Skew plugin to is the main chords that are being played. It's being played with a flute instrument, so I'm gonna play that really quickly. And now we're gonna just apply Skew, and we're gonna start having some fun with it. Now, before I do my thing personally, I'm gonna go through some of the presets in this thing, just so you can hear some of the presets and see what happens to this melody once I start applying Skew. So this is the melody with nothing on it. And now we're gonna turn the plugin on and start going through some presets. And that's the curve right there going to work. So you can do some really weird things with this. This is called slow down for 1 bar. So if you wanted a part of the song that you just wanted it to sound like it's slowing down and warping, you could use that. Now let's get to some overlapping reverse here. It's not just taking the audio signal and reversing it. It's taking chunks of the audio signal and reversing those chunks in different ways. So it really is like the combination of a granular synthesis and a reverse engine. Now, before anyone tries to get extra smart in the comment section, obviously this isn't a granular synthesis. I just mean in regards to taking an audio signal and chopping it up to manipulate those different sections of the audio signal. This thing does that really, really well. So let's go to the next preset. This is pure reverser. And we'll do the next one. Go to the next one. This is quarter note glide. And because you can make adjustments to the curve and the intensity of the curve, you can really not only have a reverse sound, but you can take that reverse sound and almost make it sound like a warped tape. Like you can get that wow and that flutter effect from an old tape emulator inside of a reverser. It's super cool. Like, listen to how this sounds. And then you can even make adjustments to the intensity right here. And as you can see, it's intensifying the curve. Or you can lower it. can change the curve. You can change the size. And as you can see, because I have the overlap turned up, it's blending a lot better and less choppy. Or you can turn the overlap down and have it more choppy. Or we can go to scratch my back. Some interesting preset names here. Now you're achieving a really cool scratching effect because you're using the crossfade knob here, which is kind of like your mix knob and your blend knob. So you can blend it between the original source signal, the original input signal, and the duplicated signal that's getting reversed. And now you got a scratching sound effect on the duplicated signal, and then you blending it with the original signal. And if I want, I can just turn the crossfade all the way up and just get pure weirdness. So you can actually create your own sound effects with this thing and just get some really cool sounding things here. But yeah, that was some of the presets using Skew. And now I'm gonna find something that works with this beat. The beat plays in halftime on this second section here. So I'm gonna add Skew to that portion of the beat just to see how it sounds really quickly. All right, so sounding a little bit off. I'm gonna turn this into an audio file, and then I'm gonna just shift it so it's a little bit more on beat. Sometimes when you put things in reverse, getting it on beat can be a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna just shift it a little bit so that it flows with the beat the way that I want to. First thing is first, bouncing this in place and turning it into an audio file. Okay, and now I will just delete that track and I will just shift this down a little bit. So let's just move this right here like this and see what this sounds like. That's got an interesting bounce. All right, and now we're gonna play the beat back. So as you can hear, I have it in reverse on this section here. None of this is mixed, by the way, so you got to bear with me. But just so you can get an idea of what's going on, now I'm going to play the beat back and we're going to check this thing out. And that's the beat I made using Skew. Like I said, man, I think this is a very, very underrated plugin. I think it's something that, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I just wasn't up on it, and maybe you guys already have this in your arsenal already. but this is something that I'm definitely going to be using a lot more. It's something that I took a little bit of a gamble with. I was on ADSR and I just looked at some new plugins that they have on there, and this popped up. And I just said, the hell with it, let's do it. It's definitely different than any other reverse plugin that I have in my plugin library already. So let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you think you're gonna be adding to your arsenal, that you think you can find use for? Or is it just another reverse plugin on the market that you just don't need another reverse plugin for? Let me know what you think. If there's any VSTs or plugins that you think I should be checking out, that you'd like to see me review on this channel, leave it down in the comments section below. And as always, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.